wishing for something. I think in like our everyday life, we might think of those two things as synonymous. So I was puzzled, and I thought, how can hope be a virtue? Like, a virtue wouldn't be just wishing for something. It doesn't seem very godly, right? So I looked up the definition of hope, and it said a feeling of expectation and desire for a thing to happen. Well, that just verified what I had originally thought. Makes sense, right? I hope it doesn't rain on the day that I'm having a picnic. I hope that it doesn't rain on the day of the big game and our game gets canceled. I hope I do well on my test. We hope all the time. So how is that a virtue? Or how can we make it a virtue? How can we take something that we do all the time without a thought and find virtue in it? So I thought about something that you all do, thanks to STEM class at least. Maybe you do on your own. How many of you have ever built Legos? Most everybody. How many of you built towers when you were, well, maybe you still do, or when you were a little kid? Everybody builds towers, don't they? And then if you have that little brother or sister who loves to come over and knock it over, wow, the frustration, right? But think of when you start building a tower and you're hoping to build the tallest one yet. And you're being careful and you're building and it just, not even because of your younger sibling, but it just falls over. What do you do in that moment? If you don't have hope, you're not going to try again. If you can't believe that you can build it taller, what does that look like? I build a tower, it falls over. It's everything to me, like that's it, it's over, it's ruined. I just wallow in the negativity of it. Think about what that looks like. Pouting in the corner, oh, I'm not building Legos again, it never works. We've actually all had those moments, right? Where something negative happens and we just crumble. If we stay in that state of negativity, would we ever try again? If I believe in my heart and I have no hope, if I believe in my heart that I will always fail at building that tower, will I ever try again? No. So to put it into terms that we can kind of wrap ourselves around, when that tower falls and I hope I can do it, I can build it taller, we keep going, right? Well, that also doesn't seem very God-centered, but we can use that to kind of help make an analogy for what the virtue of hope is. Is life going to throw you things that are negative? Absolutely. Oh, thanks, Mrs. Yatskis. What a wonderful thought on this Tuesday morning. But it's reality, right? We have to deal with some very negative things in life, some very painful things, some very awful things in life. And if we let that destroy us, what do? We give up. We don't move on. But if we have the virtue of hope, which the other definition of hope, if I continued reading on my definition list, was a feeling of trust. Oh, there's the virtue piece. The feeling of trust, because hope is a theological virtue at which God is the center. And if I have a feeling of trust in God, no matter what happens, no matter how horrible, how crushing something is, I have hope and trust in God that it will be okay. Because we believe in God who loves us, wants only the best for us, And if we practice that virtue of hope, that means that when life gives us things that are painful, when things don't go our way, when it doesn't appear that our prayers are answered the way we want them, we still believe in our hearts that things will be okay. And we continue walking towards God, walking into his arms that are full of love. And that is how we keep going. And that is when we feel peace in our hearts. If you've ever built that tower of Legos and had it crumble and let it in the moment really make you mad and just curl up in a ball in the corner and cry, is that a feeling of peace in your heart? No, it's a terrible feeling. But if you build that tower and it falls, or if you are walking your journey of life and something negative happens, and you continue on in hope in God, God who loves you, and you know that in your heart, that is where peace fills your heart. And that is one of the biggest blessings that we can receive, is that peace in our heart and our ability to walk through the storms, to walk through the towers crumbling, and continue to have hope in God. Continue to trust in him because he loves you enough to hang on the cross for you. There is no way he will disappoint. So practicing the virtue of hope is in those moments when you feel crushed, to pick yourself up. Doesn't mean you're going to never cry. Doesn't mean you're never going to feel pain. But in that moment, to consciously practice that virtue and say, God, I trust in you. I can't see it now, but I trust in you. And that will fill you with peace, and it will allow you to keep moving closer and closer to God. So let's practice that virtue this week. It seems like one of the most simple words, hope, but when you think about what it means, it might be one of the hardest that we have to do. Have a good day.